What is the number one thing that is harming your kids? The thing that is sinking them, and you're doing it. You don't even know you realize you're doing this. Let's talk to Wendy Rice, licensed psychologist. Wendy, what is the thing that is theoretically, basically sinking kids when they grow up in the future? What is it?
Giving kids with low self-esteem praise with too much fluff and too much effusiveness, telling them that they are the absolute best or the thing that they did was unbeatable and outrageously amazing.
What are some of the numbers and things behind this? What do we see in terms of studies that have come up and said that is really detrimental to children?
They just did a study in the Netherlands that basically showed that kids who have low self-esteem and are given, over-the-top praise for completing a task are much less likely to want to try something challenging in the future. And what we're finding is that those kids then are afraid that if they try something hard, they're not going to be able to live up to what they view as like their parents' expectations for them. So if you're giving kids baloney praise, they're like, oh my God, my parents think I'm amazing. So if I try this and I don't do such a good job on it, I'm going to disappoint my parents, so I better not try.
There's a scene in the Simpsons, Wendy, where Lisa, she's a smart sister. She does the saxophone. She's kind of a teacher's pet, really smart girl. You look at her trophy case. She's got tons of trophies, lots of stuff loaded up in there. Bart, more the delinquent, doesn't do a whole lot, kind of a bad boy. Look over at his trophy shelf. He's got one. It's very small. And on the trophy, it says, everybody wins a trophy day.
Oh, poor Bart.
That's the thing, Wendy, is you're seeing this attitude of these kids getting this, rah, 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 you're great, you're the most important person. No, you're not. You got to realize that life ain't perfect all the time. So what are ways that you can praise a child, or what's a more effective way so you don't actually do this kind of stuff and hurt your kid's development?
Yeah, first of all, it's just to know that you need to look out for those, overly fluffy words like exceptional job or, super amazing fast and stuff like that. So you want to really recognize them for their effort, because what we really want is for kids to want to try.
You do want them to try, but if you don't prepare, because you don't want to scare kids, Wendy. Because you don't want to go extremes here. On one side of the coin, you can go over and you can say the world is a nasty place and people are out to get you, and you can horrify the children and psychologically damage them that way. But the other extreme is doing the whole fluffy words thing. So it's frustrating here.
Yeah, you got to find the happy medium. I think kids want to feel appreciated, and I think kids want to know that we've noticed what they've done. So I think it's cool to say, wow, you worked really hard on that, or I love how you paid so much attention to detail, or I can see that you've really been practicing your pitch. You've gotten so many more into the strike zone than you used to get.
I feel like
that's legit.
Yeah, that is true. We're talking to Wendy Rice, licensed psychologist, and you are probably harming your kid's development when you're using these overly fluffy words.
Especially for kids who don't have a lot of confidence. We think that those kids that, that don't feel good about themselves and have low self-esteem, we try to, boost them, and that's where we're getting in trouble. The confident kids, it doesn't really matter what you do to them.
Yeah, why do some kids, this is just from a perspective, I just kind of hit my brain here, why do some kids have lack of confidence and others do not? Is it just kind of a genes thing, or what is it?
I believe that everything's a combination. It's that nature-nurture thing, and we don't really know why. Some kids come out really resilient. Some kids are risk-takers. Other kids are more self-conscious, and it's usually a combination of their temperament, what their inborn personality traits, and then their environment.
So is this something like this? I feel like it's in the last 10, 15 years, Wendy, that we have seen an uptick in this overly praiseworthy culture where it's like, look, you're just jacking your kids up doing this stuff. So is this something that has cropped up recently that you've seen, or is this just something that's been all along? We're just now realizing the effects of the too much praise.
I don't think it's been here all along. I think, for many of us who are maybe, 40 and older, maybe our parents were a little bit more realistic and a little like, yeah, suck it up. keep working at it, or didn't even recognize our efforts. And so oftentimes the pendulum will swing completely in the other direction, and we're like, oh, self-esteem movement, all of that. And so now we've gone too far in the direction of praise, and so things need to settle somewhere in the middle.
They do. The way I was raised is, you know what, hey, great, good job. But it's not one of those things where you go on like a 20-minute long speech and start, bowing down to the kid and think they're, tell them they're a Picasso or whatever when they just code outside of the lines in a coloring book.
I never got a trophy for participating in anything, and I participated in a lot of things. I got a trophy if I won. And I got a letter on my jacket for being on a varsity sport. That was cool.
Go, girl. You go, girl.
But you know what I mean? But I didn't get trophy that everyone wins. You win if you win. And I really do believe in that. But I also believe you say to someone, you know what, maybe this wasn't your best game, but way to go out there and do it.
At least you tried. And Scott and I, my producer and I, were just talking sports before the break. The Buckeyes go out there, they try, and imagine it. Wendy, the effects of this are going to have effects on all over the world. Employers hiring people. What employer is going to want to hire a kid who's like, you didn't praise me because I didn't finish those TPS reports? I'd be like, you're fired. Get out of my job. You get out of my building.
Right, but don't forget that if you're a boss, a really good thing in a supervisor is recognizing somebody's really good work and recognizing someone's effort. You don't want to not do that.
Yeah, really, true. I mean, I get, criticized and things and this and that, and you do this a little bit better, fix this and all this other stuff, but I don't go cry in like a closet here at the radio station. It's just like, hey, just get out there and do it better, and that's a product of how kids were raised. But in terms of like a sports world, Wendy, you got a guy that goes out in the football field, he's not going to be crying on the sidelines. I mean, maybe we will see that down the road.
Well, I hope not.
I hope not either. So just to rewind real quickly, what was the study? What is the information on that showing how praise can be bad for kids?
Avoid overly fluffy, effusive praise for kids with low self-esteem.
What was, they didn't want to try as much harder things in the future, right?
Correct, because you give too much praise and they can't, the praise is unrealistic. But they then think they can't live up to that overly unrealistic praise because they can't, because it's baloney.
Yeah.
So you guys got to be careful on those low self-esteem kids. Show them your appreciation, thank them, recognize their effort, and stuff like that. But don't go over the top. You're not helping them. You think you are. We all think we are, but we're really not.
Licensed psychologist Wendy Rice, thank you. What do you think about that? Is that a thing we're doing wrong to our kids? Let's talk about it. 405 on 610 WTV.